Cowboys and Cowgirls, Wannabe Cowboy here in collaboration with Live in the Living Room. And I'm joined by a man native from Minnesota. It's Tyler Herwig. Tyler, welcome to the show. How are we?
I'm doing so good. Thank you for having me on. It's a real pleasure.
It's all, pleasure's all ours. Time difference wise, it was a bit of a nightmare trying to set up what times because time zones. But hey, how's your day going over there?
So far, so good. Started off with a nice morning live stream on TikTok, and then went right into mowing the lawn, and then doing some dad duty, and now we're here. So I mean, it's per usual here.
Can't go wrong, can you? So for the people obviously that are new to the show or have been very regular watchers that don't know exactly who you are and what you do, give us a little insight to who Tyler Herwig is.
Yeah, so I'm Tyler Herwig. I am a recording artist, musician. So I write and sing songs, some of which you may have heard on the radio, some of which you may not have. But that's kind of who I am in a nutshell. It's just a guy that has a lot of stories and has found that telling those stories seems to work the best through music.
I think, especially within country music itself, storytelling is such a key part of being able to put all your words out on paper and get it, match with people, have
Yeah.
familiar stories that people can relate to. But I want to know, Tyler, where was your first step into country music? What made you want to go down this route?
Yeah. So I mean, if I'm being totally honest, like I've always really loved pop music. That's what I listen to, like a lot of Maroon 5, like Ed Sheeran,
I mean,
Script.
we all love Maroon 5 growing up, so
Everybody does. But so that was like what I grew up on. And so I really thought that that was where I wanted to land. And so my first couple of songs lended more towards the pop field. But as I started releasing and getting feedback from other people, it just felt like the stories that I had to tell landed somewhere closer to country. And so I swung big and went like deep, like George Strait style country,
yeah.
couple songs. And then I was like, well, that doesn't feel right either. And so it took a lot of experimentation to really figure out what my sound is. And I landed somewhere that I think is really accessible for most people, because it's kind of like if you took Dan and Shay and Ed Sheeran and you kind of smushed them together, and I was able to create my own version of like pop country. And that seems to have the most satisfying outcome for me in terms of what the sound actually is, but also lends towards the stories that I'm trying to tell, which for me are mostly about my addiction and recovery from addiction, drugs and alcohol, and then also about my family. So I write a lot about my wife and my kids, and just how much I love and how much I'm grateful for them in my life. And country just seems to have that kind of organic spot for me.
Yeah, definitely. Like country music, it feels very family orientated. Like we know a lot of. I mean, I personally know because I've listened to it. A lot of your music is very, family driven. You talk about it a lot in your lyrics, and it's really nice again for people to listen to that because there is people out there. Well, obviously we know that families and stuff trying to get their kids into country music. It's songs they can relate to, um, and it's just like as we said, the stories that tell. It's just so nice to be able to hear it with not as much of a downward vibe of low kind of slow music, but that upbeat. Not everything's bad. But where does your creativity come from in terms of writing these songs? Is it all you, or does your wife help, or is it you work with a group of people who are so talented and you're grateful for?
Yeah, I mean it's a mix of all of it. Like a lot of the songs that I write entirely myself, but I have done some co-writes with people that are just like phenomenal co-writers. Most of them are based out of Nashville, and that's just where you find the most talented songwriters in the world. You can sit down
Yeah,
with them,
yeah,
you know,
literally,
write a
especially in
song.
country music.
Yeah, especially if you're into country music. So when I've worked with them, it's been fantastic. Recently, a lot of my inspiration has come from my 3-year-old daughter. Shout out to MJ. But not that you'll ever probably see this,
You'll
but
have to. Well,
um,
you have to show it when it comes out.
I will honestly.
She'll be like,
But like
Daddy's on the telly.
she's kind of like a miniature me, right? And so I sing doing everything, even like menial tasks. So like I'm singing, putting the dishes away, like putting the plate on the shelf, something like that, And my daughter has started parroting a lot of the things that I'm saying and doing, and she's also doing it in song. And so she's actually come up recently with some really creative melodies that I've taken and just kind of been like, oh, I should have thought of that. You've
Yeah.
3 creative brain. And I've taken that, and I actually have a song coming out later here in August called First to Be Last. And she kind of helped me direct how that melody was going to be built.
Yeah,
I
you
was
get the biggest credit that can be, can it?
Yeah, I mean, best co-writer I've ever had is my own 3-year-old daughter, and it's been really cool to just see how her brain works, and to be able to take some of the nonsense in her mind and turn it into like a professional studio grade song and then release it on the radio is so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's a good way to get them to do chores as well.
Oh,
Sing along while they're doing it, and
yeah,
just make it. Just don't make them sing while doing it because that could not go down well.
you just got to gamify everything as
Yeah,
a
turn
young.
it all into a game. Make sure there's a reward at the end, and we're rolling. But
Yeah,
no, say your music. There's not many people that have done what you've done already. You've already released a full length album, The Road So Far. That must have been an incredible journey. If is it like songs, just everyone can get on board with, like you said, pop country. It's very popular at the moment. So do tell me more a little bit about that album. What was it like trying to figure out what song would fit right on it? Was there ones that didn't go on it you think should have, or vice versa?
yeah. I mean, the road so far was really the first time I was able to take a lot of the singles that I have released over the last few years and kind of put them into one place. And I think the hardest part about doing that was kind of like you said, figuring out which songs are going there. Cause I didn't just want to like take the songs and put them on a CD. I wanted to craft kind of my musical journey. Cause like I said at the beginning, I've bounced around from a lot of different genres to try and find my sound. And the road so far is really like listening to me where I am now and slowly going back to the beginning. So it's kind of like
Yeah,
taking the trip in reverse. It's kind of like going home to where it all started. And it was tricky to just figure out the order while still keeping the cohesive story that I like to tell throughout my music, which is family, addiction recovery, family, and kind of going back and forth. And that's what you hear in even my single releases now, is just telling that story backwards and forwards.
yeah,
And together in an album was a lot of fun, but definitely a challenge. And there's songs that I wish I could have put on it. But it felt like it felt like they would have a better home if I waited. So decided to wait, and they'll come out on the next one.
well, yeah, definitely. Obviously, we just want to dive a little bit into your latest release. Honey, That's You. Very personal song for yourself. Um, you know, I just want to know, showing that to your wife for the first time, what was her reaction?
She loved it. My wife is one of my actually no, she is my biggest critic, but also my biggest cheerleader, and she has no reservations about telling me when a song or a melody or a harmony just is total trash, regardless of how enthusiastic about it I
Yeah, of
am.
course.
And
Like
and
you're
that
yes, 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 and she's like, no.
no, that's not the one. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it is. And she goes, no, that's not the one, Ty. But that song in particular was really cool because she was there while I was writing it. That song was inspired uh, shortly after we found out we were pregnant with our second child, our son, who was born here this January. But last summer, I took my wife and my daughter on a little family vacation to kind of just celebrate us three being together one last time and make this big core memory before my son was born. And while we were at Disney World, I was totally miserable. It was super hot and raining. And we get to the park where you get to meet all of the characters, and my daughter sees Mickey Mouse for the very first time. And I look over at my wife. She has this big smile on her face, and it's just weeping these happy tears. And I realized in that moment that nothing I could do was going, like, no matter how much I could complain or whine, nothing was going to take away her happiness. And it clicked for me in that moment that I'm actually the luckiest guy in the world to have someone in my life who actively chooses joy despite my pessimism. And when we got back to our hotel, I sat down and wrote that song. And so she got to be a part of that one, which was really special. And to see her now as she listens to it, or I mean, we listen to my music here in our house all the time because my daughter loves it. She loves daddy's songs. Um, so to see every time that song comes on, and just to see the little smirk across my wife's face is a
I was going to
really
say, yeah, it's definitely just a case of some of them probably, like, you mentioned, brings you joy and that kind of thing. So it's really nice to hear, how much your family is such an advocate and a driver of your music. But on the subject of family, I want to know, many people, see you all over the States. You're a bit of a tour machine. If I'm not mistaken, it's like just alone, we're in August 2025 and you've done over 200 shows this
yeah.
year.
I'm
Like,
averaging about 280 shows a year,
that's
right?
just, it's
So it's
crazy. Like your drive to do that. And, the main reason we've got you on the show today is to talk about your first ever venture over to my side of the pond here in Great Britain. For those that don't know, Tyler will be at Country Calling in Chelmsford on I believe you're performing on the 17th, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. I think it's 1:30, 2 o'clock your time, and it will be when I hit the stage on that Sunday. And I also have a show up in York on Thursday the 14th at the 45 Vinyl Cafe.
See, you're getting everywhere. We gotta love it. So,
Oh
how
yeah.
how excited are you to make your UK debut?
Honestly, it's a dream come true. I never really thought that music would become my full-time career. Like I've been performing now professionally for 15, going on, it'll be 16 years in September. Um, so I've been doing this a long time, and I always thought I was going to be just your bar, restaurant, you know, busking kind of musician. And when I got married, my wife really pushed me. She's like, no, 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 I believe in you. I want you to go all in on this, regardless of what happens. Like this is what you are meant to do. And to see here now over the last 5 years, me go from a guy who was singing in bars to now singing all over the country to now singing, uh, going on my first international
Yeah,
small size tour is pretty amazing. And it's all because my wife believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And I'm so excited to come and meet the fans that are in the UK and to make it hopefully a couple new fans along the way.
I think you'll be surprised when you come over here. That because obviously we know the states and country, it's huge, but
Yeah.
it's always funny to hear when American artists come over to the UK. They're always so baffled by how many fans of country music there actually are. And you'll probably be here. I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong, being like, there's probably a few people that, they're not going to know who I am. But I can guarantee there is going to be people who've seen your name on that poster and gone, I want to go, I'm going. And you're,
Um,
singing along. That's probably going to feel insane knowing that people
it's
over here
wow.
will know your lyrics off by heart.
It's going to be wild. And I'm really excited because I do recall back in 2023, I released a song called Living in the Last Days. And I believe it actually charted to 4 on the indie country charts in the UK. So I'm kind of expecting, kind of hoping that a
Yeah,
couple, oh, at least that one song, if not a few more. And then I've also had the pleasure of becoming friends with some UK artists, one of which is Kezia Gill. She's phenomenal. She'll also be, I think, on the main stage at Country Calling on both the 16th and the 17th. And so I'm really excited to kind of just bring this world full circle, to meet the fans, to make some new fans, to collaborate with these artists that I know and have, only met a few times here and there at like the CMA Fan X or something like that. It's good. It's going to be so fun.
yeah, but you can't wait. Is there anything you're most excited to do while you're over here in Great Britain?
Okay, so I'm not like a foodie, okay, but I am really really excited to. Okay, so I am a foodie, but it's
Are
trash
we
food,
are we
right?
going are we going on the beans on toast scale?
I I want beans on toast, man. I'm ready for it.
Yeah,
Like nothing you can get here, just like you guys can't get Chick-fil-A, and you've
yeah,
never experienced the joy that is the Chick-fil-A sauce. So
yeah. That's what I'm saying. There's stuff over here that fish and chips, a bit like that kind of thing. Sausage rolls,
yeah,
British products like dairy milk and McVitie's biscuits. I think you're going to be like, oh my word. So, give you a little bit of an insider. So on Sunday we were at an event down in Kent, and Brandon Davis performed, and it was his UK debut.
yeah.
He said to me, obviously we spoke to him before the festival, like, I'll try beans on toast when I come over, because Americans can't comprehend the fact that putting beans on top of toasted bread. I don't understand why. Most of them I've seen on comments online like that sounds disgusting, but he came up to me and went, I had them for breakfast, and oh my god, it was amazing.
Well, because I'm assuming that the beans you put on toast are very different than like the barbecue
Yeah,
kind.
they're fully, so it's Heinz beans, like beans in tomato sauce. Yeah, you. I'm gonna.
I'm so
I'll,
excited.
I'll make
Just to,
sure I'll make sure I contact you on socials, and you've got to tell me your experience when you have them for the first time.
I'll
Um,
doc the whole thing on my stories. Like, don't just definitely get a hold of me anyway. But like, yeah, I'm gonna be posting a lot on my socials about everything that's
yeah,
happening. It's gonna be
I cannot wait to see it. But we're so excited to have you over here in the UK. I'm sure the fans that are going to be at Country Corner are excited to have you as well. So, kind of leads into my final question then, Tyler. So, we all know you can't spell country without try. So, Tyler Herwig, where are you trying to get to in country music?
my goal when I started doing this full time and started seeing some traction wasn't necessarily to be the most famous person on the planet. I mean, that would be great, but like that's not the goal. The goal for me is to change as many lives as I possibly can, one song at a time. I've mentioned a few times here, my songs revolve really around two things. It's my recovery from addiction and my family. And the reason that I write about those two things, I want people to know that I've been where you are. We all go through hard times, whether it's addiction, whether it's the loss of a loved one, whether it's the loss of a job. We all go through hard times, but the grass is always greener if we keep falling forward. And that's really been kind of how my whole career has operated. I've failed at most of the things that I've done. What's made me different is that when I stand back up, I keep walking forward. I don't say, all right, the journey's over. And so my goal, like the thing I'm really trying to attain, is just to change lives one song at a time every single day. And if at the end of my career or the end of my life, I can look back and say, like, yeah, maybe I wasn't a millionaire. Maybe I never had that number one. Maybe I never went platinum. But like, look at these people who I was able to encourage to keep walking forward. That's a much bigger mission than making millions of dollars. And so that's really what I'm trying to attain. So I just want to change lives.
I think that's one of the most wholesome answers I've had to that question yet since it's been asked. So I know I appreciate it. Just the way you speak and the mannerism you've got around you just shows that you have so much support and love for people, not only inside your circle, but wanting to help people, boost their own. So it's so lovely to hear. So for those that don't know where to find you, Tyler, such as socials and things, let us know where we can find you.
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube are my four main platforms, but you can find me on every platform, at least every major platform at Tyler Herwig Music. Or you can check out my website, tylerherwig.com, to see all of my tour dates, both national here in the US and international now. So check out tylerherwig.com to see everything and give me a follow on social media or your favorite streaming platform. I respond to all my own DMs too. So if you guys listen to a song and you like it, or maybe you hate it and have some feedback, get a hold of me and let me know. I'd love to chat with you.
Well, that's many artists don't do that. So, I'm sure you'll have plenty of fans from the UK messaging saying, you were great, blah, 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 blah. I bet you can't wait to hear it. And, we can't wait to see the videos. So it's going to be great. So, Tyler, it's been a privilege to have you on the show today. I've been Regan, aka Wannabe Cowboy, in the collaboration with Live in the Living Room, and we will see you on the next episode. Goodbye.
Stay blessed.